ridiculous amounts of information that will help you. Have a seat. Thank you. Okay? Give yourselves a hand. Or a few of you give yourselves a hand. Let's try that again. Give yourselves a hand. Okay? Let's go. Come on now. Let's go. All right. You guys awake? You ready? Okay, so what is the number one thing? Dallas, yell at everybody out there and tell them to get their butts in the seats. What is the number one thing that every single insurance agent, company, IMO, and call center on the planet struggle with in the insurance industry? The number one thing. There's only one. What is it? There's only one. What is it? There's only one. What is it? Dallas, yell at them again. There's only one. What is it? There's only one. What is it? There's only one thing. What is it? Sean Powell told me this like a decade ago. There's only one thing. What is it? My dad told me this about 3 decades ago as soon as I came out of the womb and I was born. Okay, what is it? It is getting in front of people. Prospecting, marketing, leads. Like, who thinks when you get in front of people you make money? You make sales. Okay, good. Who thinks that when you get in front of people, people like you? You build rapport well. You build a good relationship. Everything goes well. But if you do not get in front of people, guess what? You can't do any of that. So the number one thing that every insurance agent struggles with is getting in front of people. When I made $100,000 my first year, it's only because I got in front of a lot of people. I wasn't any better than anybody else, right? And now our teams and our companies and our sales teams are winning because why? Because we're getting in front of a lot of people. Because once Landon McCarter joined the squad 2 years ago this month, everything changed because he is a freak at Google AdWords, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, getting your direct mail converted at a higher level, getting people to locate you and find you all over the world, all over the planet. Who's ready for the next speaker? Okay, have I promoted him hard enough or have I promoted him hard enough? Dallas, yell at him again. Okay, yell at him again. Because I'm telling you, this will change the way you get in front of people forever if you listen to it, if you take notes, and if you apply it. Say aye if you're ready for the next speaker. Aye. Say aye if you're ready for the next speaker. Aye. Say aye if you're ready for the next speaker. Aye. If they're not in here, they're going to miss it. All right, give it up for my good buddy, Mr. Landon McCarter.
Well, hello. Make sure I'm mic'd up. Are we good to go? All right, we're good to go. Brian, Cody, thank you guys so much for allowing me on the stage. It's been an absolute pleasure and a wild ride with the Askins folks. My background is very simple. I got my degree in marketing from Missouri State University. This was back before Facebook was a paid platform. This is back before Google really was a platform at all. This is back when the only way to reach an actual zip code was to direct mail the zip code. I graduated in 2009. Started a direct mail company, built that to a multi-million-dollar company, sold out of that. Actually, I didn't sell out of that. The owner sold his company, and I was left to pick up the pieces. So I started my own company 9 months after graduation, starting a direct mail company. Did that for 2 years, sold that, because I realized that digital marketing is changing the game that is getting in front of people, okay? What I mean by that is in 2020, 55% of all media spend in the world was digital. 55%. This is when I graduated in college with my degree in marketing. There was no digital marketing except Google, basically, and no small business or anybody was doing Google at all. So the amount of small businesses and entrepreneurs that were leveraging Google and online was non-existent, okay? So what did I do? I decided that to compete with direct mail, I was going to start a door hanging company to hang door hangers on a 27-inch by 7-inch door hanger that had 20 businesses on it. I charged 5 cents a house, $500 a month. The zone's of 10,000 houses. I built that up. It was called Door Deals. I franchised that. I got that in 22 cities. And then in 2012, direct mail and print media started to take a dump on me. And I was doing the same thing that I was doing for over and over, but I had all these franchisees that were desperate for sales. So I started saying, where is all this direct mail and all this print media going towards? And it was all flocking towards digital, which I didn't realize what was going on. So I said, I got to figure this out. I got Google certified. I started to understand why digital marketing was taking place. Now, before I get going too far, I want to make sure that I am very clear that direct mail is an extremely valuable tool for the insurance industry still. I'm not trying to say that direct mail is dead or that direct mail and print are dead or dying. I'm just saying you have to understand digital, because one of the things that my position has allowed me to do, which is work with thousands of insurance agents. I work with multiple carriers, FMOs, IMOs, et cetera, because I'm able to be Switzerland. I don't sell insurance. I'm not competing with any of you or anybody at all. So what they do, these insurance companies, they bring me in. The first question I ask them is, what are you doing now that's working? Well, how can we do more of that? How can we take this particular strategy and leverage it a little bit better? And so what happened is I started to understand what in the world is happening in this insurance marketing space. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break out in detail what all the killers are doing. Now, what I mean by that is I work with individual agent that has a smaller budget. I work with the individual carrier that gives me their call center that they need to generate, thousands of leads a day. An example of one of my clients right now is a company that sells final expense. They have a gigantic field force. They have also a gigantic telemarketing center. They generate, 7,000 leads a week to sell $45 million of premium per year of final expense between the field and the call center. Our campaigns are responsible for about 2/3 of that marketing. The other third is doing overseas call center live transfers, which is another thing that the market is kind of taking on right now that is working. The problem is that if a typhoon goes and hits the Philippines call center, you're not getting any more live transfers. Also, there's some compliance issues that I think are coming down the pipe that might shut this whole thing down anyways. So even if you are doing live transfers at large scale, that is working well. That's still something that needs to be considered, because there needs to be a digital sort of angle as well. There's not a single person at the top of the insurance marketing game that isn't having some portion of their budget being digital marketing. I'm going to break down what that looks like, okay? Now, one of the biggest mistakes that I see our industry making is very simple. What happens is you have a direct mail guy, you have your website guy, maybe it's your cousin that has a MacBook and convinced you to build a Squarespace site. Maybe it was your friend or whatever it is that has their little way of doing their secret little thing to set up your Facebook page. Then you have a Facebook ad account. Then you think you should do Google, so you do that. And then you think that you need to do blogging, so we go blog. And then Cody has built his entire business on YouTube, so let's go build a YouTube channel. And what ends up happening is that we end up with these independent, disjointed strategies that don't actually connect with one another, and it creates this massive task list of marketing tasks that you can't do because you don't understand why you're doing it in the first place, and you give up immediately. Because what happens is you're like, I need a blog, but then it's like, well, crap, now I got a blog. I'm going to wake up early and blog. Like, I got apps to write. I got to log into the mymedicare.gov and figure out which P2Ps to write. Like, there's just stuff that you have to do that's more important than blogging, so it gets pushed aside. Therefore, it just doesn't get done, right? There's ways that we can synergize this to make it very clear to make our direct mail work better and our digital work better and our phone calls work better and all of that, and I'm going to break that down, all right? It's called a marketing mix for a reason, okay? I have thousands of customers. Right now, I partnered with Cody 2 years ago. Secure Agent Marketing didn't exist 24 months ago. We had 0 employees and $0 of revenue. 24 months later, we're a multi-million-dollar digital agency. We have 50 in-house employees. We have multiple employees that we have outsourced as well. And we are the largest agency that specializes on insurance marketing in the country. There's no one even close to us. The only one that competes with us is individuals that have 2 or 3 or 4 people on their team, right? This is what everyone is using right now. There is really no other tool that people are leveraging in some capacity. It's either some mix of direct mail, seminar marketing. If you're an SIG agent, you know a lot about seminar marketing. Brian has created and concocted the most genius seminar strategy that you guys have ever even heard of. And when I say that, I'm looking at his strategies from the beginning when this whole thing, and I'm shocked at how the percent returns are there, the close rates are there. And I'm going to break down some of this stuff because this is a SIG event, and we're going to be a little bit more vulnerable with some of that things that we've talked to him about that we can share. And what he has done over the years is refined. How many direct mailers have you dropped over the last 10 years on seminars? 5 million? Okay, so we're talking about a proven and tried method that has no room for error with an exact science down to the date at which we need to mail to get the highest return possible. We're going to talk about that. Digital lead development. There isn't a single insurance person out there that isn't leveraging some form of, well, let me rephrase that. There's not a large group of insurance professionals that aren't leveraging digital in some capacity. If you throw websites in there, then it's 100%, right? Traditional media, I'd be cautious on traditional media outside of AEP. Most of this room is going to be doing Medicare. I've got a bunch of TV spins that I broker for big groups right now, and we can put a call tracking number on that telephone, on that TV ad, so we can call the actual calls that come in, get volume, and also call duration. And TV is dragging butt right now, and I would run for the hills with the TV spend, unless you have $8,000 or $9,000 a month to spend on TV, and even then, your cost per acquisition is $500, $600, $700. If you're lucky, your cost per call is, good gosh, like sometimes $200 on TV, right? But you're building a brand, right? You're building your brand in your community. Now, that's fantastic, but why don't we build our brand while we're generating high quality leads at the same time? The traditional media and this game, they don't understand our industry and the insurance, I can assure you. They're lost, okay? Trust me, because I'm the agency that talks to these guys, and they're like, just give it 6 more months. I'm like, buddy, we're spending 10 grand a month. You're telling me to give it 6 grand a month, and our cost per call is $500. You go fly a kite, dude. Like, give me a new schedule here, right? So, also grassroots efforts. This is probably extremely underutilized in your particular area. If you go to our YouTube channel, there's a couple videos on there that we talk with individuals. One of the videos that we did is Rebecca Davis. She's found an amazing way to just go do birthday parties at local senior community centers, say thanks, bring a cake, hug the seniors, and write a crap load of policies out of that. So that's what is an interesting little angle that people are doing as well. And then telemarketed leads. Has anyone heard that there's a lot of overseas transfers going on right now, and that's kind of moving in? That's kind of a thing that's happening a lot. We broker some of those. They're TCPA compliant, DNC scrubbed, and all of that. But that's something that you should maybe consider or think about, because that's what has happened. Right now, that's kind of a hot way to do things as well. So let me give you an example that's very specific, but not the only thing that I'm saying and hanging my hat on this particular strategy. I'm just going to bring one actual example. Who all in this room leverages some sort of direct mail? About everybody, right? Okay. What has happened in the market these days is the days of educational selling are here now, okay? People work with the people that educate them, period. That is how this works, okay? So what's happened is the amount of options that seniors have is massive, because they just go to the internet and figure out who they want to, how do I want to learn about this, and how do I get educated, and then how do I then take action? So what's happened is the market's created this segment of what are called information seekers. What information seekers are, as an example, is let's say we have 5,000 direct mail pieces that we're going to drop in a particular area. There's going to be a certain percent return that we're going to get from that. Let's just say we're shooting for 1% return, maybe 1.5% if we're lucky these days. What will happen, though, is you had to mail 5,000 pieces to get that 1% return, as an example. There's a percentage of those individuals that received your marketing message, didn't respond to the actual call to action that you put in front of them, which was call me now or reply to this business direct mail card, but are interested in the program and just want more information, okay? So what I mean by that is give them what they want. Give them the information that they want. That direct mail program has some type of call to action or enticing program, or whatever that is, on that. Build a landing page on your website that communicates what exactly that program is about. Shoot a 10-minute video, you explaining why they should take advantage of this and who this fits for and why it makes sense for you to do that, etc. Put that video on your landing page. Put a URL on that direct mail piece. Your lead vendor, whoever you work with, the direct mail will charge you $0 to do that. The information seeker will then, instead of, maybe the guy that thought about doing it isn't interested but chose not to actually take action, might go to your website to then read more information. Then you put a lead form at the bottom of that, and you'll get your leads that way. I was talking to my friend Josh. We're doubling our direct mail response by doing that. We're going from a 1% response to 2. How much does it cost Josh to put a URL on a direct mail card? $0, okay? So that's what I mean by synergizing your activities, right? It doesn't cost any extra money, really, to put that direct mail URL on your direct mail. Not to mention, what happens whenever we get people into our website reading about that particular low-income subsidy direct mail piece that we just sent out? What if we have a website that's built out, filled with video that educates on all the other things that we do? All the Medicare supplement, all the annuity, whatever that ends up being, right? What happens is you attracted them because I sent 5,000 mailers out to a particular area hoping to get a 1% response, right? But there's thousands of people that might go to our website, I'm not saying they will, that might find themselves into some other video educating on some other program that might actually attract them to your business and brand along the way. Does that make sense? It costs us nothing. Let's just synergize it, right? Here's a few more common mistakes. Do you think people sitting in your seminars and webinars that you're doing are not Googling you? and understanding who you are and what your brain is about. You're insane if you think that's not happening. That's happening. You're built, especially if you want to be referable, you've got to take the tone of education. How do you educate people? The foundation has to be on your website. It has to be. There's no other way to do it. Yeah, you need to build a YouTube channel probably too, but those videos need to be on your site as well. I'm going to have to go through these quick because I'm running out of time. All right, traditional media will have a URL. What are you educating when they check it out? Now, who knows what a warm audience is? Anyone ever heard of that? Okay, so what you can do with digital tools, Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, is any person or cell phone that goes to your website to understand what you're currently doing, you can capture that IP address and use that to remarket for your next program. So if I have 1,000 people going to my website, I can capture those 1,000 people and put together a Facebook message with the call to action that only reaches those 1,000 people for pennies on the dollar, right? Why wouldn't you be synergizing that? Why wouldn't you be using your seminar registration landing pages as a way to attract traffic to then identify the T65 folks in your particular area, to then build that warm audience, to then remarket to it later, right? Makes sense? And by the way, these are all strategies that other industries are like living on. The insurance industry is just so far behind overall that like we're just now catching up with this type of strategy because the insurance industry traditionally has just bought leads instead of marketed to get their own leads, right? So what should this look like? Okay, you want to look and you want to start to take an account for what this actually is going to be going for. When are my direct mail drops? When are my seminars? What's my content schedule? What do I mean by a content schedule? Okay, a content schedule is simply just do you agree with the people that work with people that educate them? Yes or no? Yes, this is what, let me ask you a question, whoever sells Medicare. Rewind the clock 5 years ago. How educated were those individuals that were sitting with you for your first meeting? You were sitting with a blank slate. They were like, tell me what to do. I have no idea. I heard I need Medicare. Now what are they doing? They're saying, I think I need this, and I think I've heard that this is the thing I need to do. Where do you think that they're getting that education? It's online. Duh. Okay? I can assure you that's happening. If you're the one that educates them along the way, you get first crack at that business. What are my lead goals? There's 3 things that the industry tracks their return on investment with their marketing on. It's called ROAS, return on ad spend. All that is a simple number. It's a 1-to-1, which means I spent $1 and I got $1 back. 3-to-1 is I spent $1 and got a $3 back. That return on ad spend is a good number to benchmark everything we're trying to accomplish. A good return on ad spend for a digital program or marketing program is 3-to-1. Does that mean that you can turn that on and get a 3-to-1 the first month? It does not mean that. Does that mean that you might get a 10-to-1 the first month? It does also mean that. But it's not a guaranteed system. This isn't the magic lever we pull and out comes free money, right? We got to figure this thing out. But tracking your return on ad spend, most of us don't even know what that even is. What's a return on ad spend? How do we track it? That's very important, right? What's our lead goal? I've got 5 LOAs. I need 10 leads a day for them to live on. Here's my lead goal that I need to hit. Here's the budget that I'm going to allow to get to that lead goal. Here's how we execute those lead goals. Or cost per acquisition. Set your cost per acquisition ceiling. Actually, the first step is actually establish a benchmark for a cost per acquisition. How many of you guys, and you can be honest, raise your hand if you know what it costs you to acquire a customer? Very few. The fact that 5 of you have raised your hand is a problem, right? That's difficult to scale if you don't understand how much it takes to acquire a customer. I can't go through this because I don't have a lot of time, but this is a general outline of what I would expect anybody to go through if you're really going to start taking your marketing budget serious. And it's really just a month one through month 6, okay? The first month is very simple. We've got to understand what our benchmarks are. We've got to start to identify our assets. We've got to figure out if our website's going to work. Is it going to be something that we can actually have as the landing page ecosystem of our actual direct mail campaigns that we're trying to accomplish? Is it going to work, or is it like a Squarespace site that doesn't allow us to actually track conversions or even track remarketing, et cetera, right? Then you're starting to develop assets. What does that mean? What do I mean by developing assets? That means potentially creating videos. That means setting up the YouTube channel. That means creating landing pages. That means potentially designing the mailer for the seminar mailer, whatever that ends up being. You got to develop that asset. Then once you start getting things moving, I call it getting water through the pipes, and then we fix the leaks later. We will be able to get leads immediately. There's no question we'll be able to get leads. The question then becomes, what's the buyer intent of the leads that we're getting? A buyer intent of a direct mail lead, of someone that got the lead in their mailbox, filled it out, mailed it back to you, is a pretty high intent, wouldn't you agree? Someone that follows through a Facebook lead form at 2 a.m. accidentally is maybe a low intent lead that we got a DSNP lead for 88 cents. Would you agree, right? So you've got to figure out where's that line. Once we get water through the pipes, though, we can then begin to analyze how is this working for us? Are we getting leads? Are the leads working? Are the LOAs pissed because we're feeding them 88 cents DSNP leads and it might as well just buy data? It's so crappy. Those are the conversations that we need to have and are absolutely normal to be having early in the process, right? You get to a certain point, though, where you've identified a source and a thing that's going to work for you, whatever that ends up being, and then you can scale it. The best part about this whole deal is we can scale this thing. Once we understand the return on ad spend, once we understand the actual return on investment that we're getting, it's very easy for us to scale a business. The reason you guys are part of SIG is because they have a unique offering to help you build a business. If you go ask Dallas and Brian and all these guys what they're trying to accomplish, they're really built for the group that wants to build a company. That's why their comps are so great. That's why their marketing is so great, because they want to give you as much money as possible to build your dang company. Part of that's going to need to be with marketing for sure, and you're ready to scale this thing once you understand what your cost per acquisition is. That's why we have such good relationships with SIG agents. I'm looking at 10 customers in this room alone, right? Here's what this should look like overall. Okay, I want to go through this really quickly. I'm sorry I'm going fast. You guys have my book in front of you. So this actually accomplishes a lot. This is a quick overview. My book breaks this out in depth. Okay, that's the whole point of the book. All right. Also, if you want to just, as you're thinking about it, you can, www.secureagentmarketing.com/SIG has this presentation for download. Okay, so if you want to get that, you can go there as well. Right. Now, the white line in the bottom is your warm market. We can only sell our old fraternity brothers so many term policies. Okay, so that's gonna wear out pretty soon. It's gonna be how you get started, and it's free. Okay, referrals up and to the right. Who wants to build their business on referrals? Everybody should raise their hand, right? Because that's the most important thing to do. Because without referrals, you have nothing, right? Because without referrals, what are we doing here? That means you're not good at your job because you should be getting referrals or you're not asking for it, right? So that should be a steady up and to the right. Long-term marketing. What I mean by that is Cody, how long did you have to do YouTube videos before someone even gave two craps about your YouTube videos? 18 months? Okay. The first 1,000 videos that you did probably had a combined view of the last 5 you've done this last week. It takes time to get things rolling, okay? But who here hasn't seen a video from Cody or I? Nobody better raise their hand. No way, you're a liar. Why are we spending all of our marketing budget on short-term lead flow? It's dumb. Don't do it. Don't do all of your marketing on short-term lead flow, direct mail investments, or social leads from the social leads lead guy, right? Don't even pay us $22 a lead, because whenever you're doing that, the only reason we sell leads like that is for budgets that are smaller, that can't afford to do it the right way, which is marketing, right? We actually take lead transactions and try and communicate why you should be doing your own marketing. But there's just a lot of people that are going to buy leads, so we'll sell it to you, and that's a lot of weight. That's our 999 oil change that we use to build relationships with folks, right? Now, so long-term marketing is what I mean by investing in your website, investing in your content marketing, investing in your videos, investing in everything that takes place that is what I would consider like an asset that you're creating that isn't like a direct mailer or a Facebook lead. That would be short-term paid tools. That would be Google. That would be Facebook. That would be paying for leads now, which we can do immediately. Like if anybody right now wants to get into or sells low-income subsidy type campaigns, that's the easiest campaign to build right now on the planet, right? I can get low-income subsidy leads for sub $4 like a spigot, right? It's super easy. Same with Medicare, same with FE, same with all these basic lead types, right? Now, you can't control your growth with long-term marketing because I can't guarantee lead flow when you invest in your website. I can guarantee lead flow when you pay for it. So what happens is if you come to me and say I need 1,000 leads, most of that budget's going to go towards short-term marketing. But if you ask me what's the best thing for my business, I'm going to tell you to invest in long-term assets and also short-term marketing and find that balance that is your budget to feed the mouths now, but build so you don't have to ever pay for another lead if you don't want to, right? Now, I'm going to break this down quickly because good grief, I thought I had a little bit more time and I prepped a little more slides than I may have should. So after this, I'm going to be at the booth. Feel free to do 2 things at the booth. 1, ask me how tall I am. I'm 6'9". Yes, I play basketball, right? 2, I'll sign your book if you want to sign my book, or want me to sign your book. And also, I'll talk this out a little bit further if you want one at the booth as well. But I want to talk through budgets because I want to give you guys the clear expectation of what I see across the board from a general budgeting standpoint, okay? The first thing I'm going to break down is seminar strategy. And I'm going to have to go super quick, okay? Here's a general sort of number. This is based on the Brian Askin's secret sauce that if you guys, I cannot speak highly enough about what Brian and SIG has done on the seminar model. They are the masters at this game, okay? I can assure you, all right? 5,000 mail drop each quarter with 3 to 5 events per mail drop. What that means is that we're doing one mail drop with 5,000 T65 names. All right? Now, we put a landing page on our website where we allow people, for those information seekers that didn't respond to the direct mail, to go in and opt in through our landing page. Okay? Sometimes 70% of our registrations are coming from the landing page and not the direct mail card itself. Don't you think it might be important to have a landing page? Okay, all right? I'm not saying that's it. I'm just saying we've had seminars that's been the case. Sometimes it's 10%. All right? We just had a direct mail drop that we did pull 2.3% response. That means we had and these are real numbers, by the way. These aren't like estimations. This is like a campaign I just went back and looked at. This isn't also a guarantee for your campaign. Please, I have to have this disclaimer as a marketing guy or else I get skewered. Right? So 115 registrations. These are Brian Askin's numbers, right? This is not my numbers. Go ask Brian if I'm a liar. 80% show rate, 92 in-person meetings, 80% appointment rate from those individuals, which is 73 meetings. 2/3 will close. You'll get 49 clients out of that drop. If numbers are light, we can use social media to push registrations to that actual seminar. So what I mean is if our direct mail isn't pulling well, we can just use that landing page that we created for the direct mail to then push social registrations through so we can make sure that we have numbers that we need to get to, all right? I was talking to Brian the other day. He said that he did a seminar with one of his agents like 12 months ago and is still writing policies from that one seminar that took place like 12 months ago with 80 people that showed up, right? So if we did one mailer per quarter, that's 12 events per year. So that's 5 mailers at 5,000 mails a piece. Now, if you're in a small area, we may not have 5,000 names. We'll have to work on this. This is just general, right? So you're looking at 460 registrations, 368 in-person prospects, 292 meetings, and 196 clients. Your cost per acquisition is $66 plus the cost of food. However, let's say we don't pull a 2.3%, we're still at $120 cost per acquisition, which is very sustainable. You guys see what I'm saying? So it's not about, we're not leaning the strategy on getting a 2.3 because that's a very high pull. Direct mail strategy. Now, if I talk to Josh Youngs, these numbers would be rookie numbers. We need to pump these numbers up, baby, right? But here we go. 1,000 direct mail pieces per month. Let's just say business reply for now. Information seekers go to the landing page, which can increase the response rate 0.5% to 1%. 15 leads per 1,000, 40 to 60 close rate. Josh says 70%. That would mean we get 180 leads per year, 60% close rate, 108 customers, $83 cost per acquisition. Does anyone see that these numbers are out of line with your experience? Probably not. I would bet you that if you're doing direct mail without the leveraging the landing page strategy, that's be a quick way to implement on Monday and increase your income next year. Okay? Short-term digital strategy. This is very simple. One of the things that is blowing my mind right now is Google is crushing the game. Like we are getting a crap load of Google leads, okay? Google FE are $7 to $5. I just generated 460 yesterday for one of my clients at $7.83. He closes. He stands in front of my slide.
I didn't know you had to read it.
He closes.
Don't do that to a greenie. You'll piss him off.
I love Nate. So, he's closing those Google leads at the same rate as his live transfers are, right? So these aren't just, I can't explain why Google is better than Facebook. It just is. You got to understand that someone going to Google, Googling how do I enroll in Medicare is probably a higher intent lead than someone going to Facebook that saw my ad on Facebook and opting into a landing page, right? So T65, $25, Facebook FE, 4 to 15, Facebook Medicare, 9. Now, there's a model right now that is slowing down, but it is a very valuable model where you can basically create an evergreen webinar system and record a seminar, but put it online, market that seminar, have people show up to that seminar, show that seminar, and then share like a calendar link on that seminar so then people book the calendar with you or an inbound call. We're running about a $15 to $25 registration for that 25% show rate. But between all the different like methods, just spend $1,000 a month. You get 804 leads at 15% close rate. That's 120 clients, $100 cost per acquisition. Now, this is where things get a little confusing. I don't have a ton of time. I hope it's okay if I go a little bit over, Cody, because I'm going to have to wrap this thing up just a little bit, right? So I want to try and explain this because it's very important that you understand that what I mean by creating an ecosystem for our landing pages is extremely important, okay? People work with the people that educate them. An example that I use all the time is Justin Brock, right? We built his website a year and a half ago, and he gets thousands of leads through that a year. Now, he invested $80,000 into his website over the course of 12 months, but he still has a website that's worth way more than 80 grand now, right? He's got 170 pages of content. He has a 12% conversion rate on every click that goes to it. His average session duration is 10 minutes and 55 seconds. How many people want thousands of people going to your website, spending 10 minutes on your website and converting 12% clip, right? Duh, okay? Now, the real secret, though, with this strategy is that you have to understand that what you do is even if you have a landing page, what people typically do, because it's the path of least resistance, is they'll go set up for like a ClickFunnels account, and they'll set up like a landing page on a ClickFunnels, and they'll drive that traffic to a ClickFunnels account, and it may work a little bit, but if that landing page isn't a part of your actual website ecosystem, we can't remarket to it, we can't let them individually shop. So what'll happen is we'll have a lot of people that are on Google, let's just say, go to our landing page that's on the client's website that doesn't choose to convert on the LIS ad we just had, but then backs out and goes and watches a video about the general Medicare or Medicare part, whatever it is, and converts that way. So if your landing pages are just disjointed from your content engine that's educating, you're just missing all that opportunity. So you want to have those landing pages within your actual ecosystem, and that's what this is, right? So for 25.5, what we're doing is we're creating an entire website, 48 pages of content per year. I didn't really get into the lead automation platform that comes with it, but it's basically the automatic texts and emails. I just don't have time to cover it. But basically what I mean by that is you need one place for all your leads. So all your leads that you're doing for your direct mail and seminar and all that stuff need to drop into one particular system. All your leads that come from your website go into that system as well, right? So building that is 25.5 a year. So what I want to do is just break out these numbers real quick, right? So total, that's 60 grand a year. At the end of 60 grand, you got 1,444 high intent opportunities, 424 projected clients. In order to get a 2.1 ROI, your average customer needs to be $280. Whose customer is more than $280? Everyone's, okay? That's just a 2-to-1. That's also assuming 0 organic leads and 0 referrals from our site, okay? Now, here's where I want you to start to understand how this whole thing works. This is just the beginning, because once you understand how this whole thing works and track your ROI and track your cost per acquisition, and you understand that this is all moving, right? Then you can figure out how to hire an LOA, because if you control the lead, you control the agent, right? If you're the one that's providing the lead and you're masking kind of where it's coming from, you have a little bit more leverage with that agent. So you can use this to recruit. You can use this to build the value with your downline. You can use this to build your business. This is why we have clients that spend $1 million a year with us now that all started at 60 grand a year. No, you got to crawl, walk, and run. Does that make sense? One more point, and then I'll wrap up. This 60 grand a year, how much, this isn't an out loud answer, this is a rhetorical question. How much would you pay per year for a marketing director that would understand all these things, that sit in your office and work with you? How much would you pay that person per year? Just think about that. And then think about that person that's sitting in your office, that is your marketing director, they also have to hire us to execute all this stuff. You see what I'm saying by that? So if you can just have an agency that helps you understand this and unpacks these numbers and you trust and there's a relationship there, then you're able to actually execute and scale like you wouldn't believe. The reason my book is called Find Your Marketer is because I don't work with a single group that does more than $5 million a year of insurance that hasn't either partnered with the marketer or found their marketer. It's 0% of them are doing this without like a marketer on the team in some intimate way. That's all I got.